You are listening to the Break Time Tech Talks podcast, a bite-sized tech podcast for busy developers, where we'll briefly cover technical topics, news snippets, and more in short time blocks. I'm your host, Jennifer Reif, an avid developer and problem solver with special interest in data, learning, and all things technology. Fall 2024 craziness continues, and I'm gearing up for Neo4j's big virtual event happening next week, Nodes 2024. You'll hear some sneak peeks into the event and find out how you could join in on the fun. I've also always been a fan of the less favored topic of data, but this week I want to mention why we shouldn't overlook some of these lower layers of technical systems. To start off, we're going to dive right into talking about how data is cool. Data is often overlooked, but it's actually pretty cool when you start looking at it and thinking about it. Or maybe that's just me. I like to see the patterns, how you can organize data into various data structures, how you can manipulate data and transform it into different ways. I kind of see data as a puzzle and something to be solved and something to improve and to figure out. There are so many different ways to go about that, whether you're looking at data patterns and organization and structures, things like trees and hierarchies and so on, or you're looking at different tools, databases like relational databases or NoSQL databases or graph databases or so many others. There's all kinds of ways you can store data in different formats, or even looking at JSON formats and translation formats, CSVs, and so on, that where you pass data back and forth between systems, or you have query languages where you interact with data and manipulate and morph it and tweak it by querying from the database. You have data visualization tools, or data analysis and data science, algorithms, and different ways you can study structures and overarching connections and communities. I've just found it really intriguing. I'm kind of a nerd. I've always kind of liked music theory when no one else did. As a musician growing up, I was always the one who was actually really excited for music theory class, and nobody else around me was. Theory helped me understand the music, really utilize it and manipulate it and play with it a little bit and make it my own. It helped me reduce fear in performing because I knew what to expect and what might be coming next. And it also can help be a better participant in a performing group because you understand, again, how your part fits into the rest of the structure in the piece and how you can play along or participate in that and where the trajectory is going. Data is like music theory, but for technology. It helps us understand the world around us, maybe even helps understand people in some ways, because it helps us make decisions, everyday decisions, right? When you're looking at planning a trip or your financial goals or your decision-making skills for where you might like to eat, you take a variety of different things into account, right? You might take your lifestyle choices, your budget, your distance from various places. You use data for that. You do some research, you weigh the pros and cons, or you do a cost-benefit analysis. Again, all of that involves data. So if we can better understand how we make decisions based on our values, our limitations, our preferences, then it could also help us understand why others might make decisions based on that same data or maybe slightly different data. So data is the foundation of our technical systems, the applications, even the architecture. We base our system architecture off of where is the data that I need and how can I pull it all together. Without good, high-quality data, all those systems are actually pretty worthless and wasted. Think about some of the websites that you despise. Now, yes, some of those might be user interface issues, but a lot of that is the way the data is provided to you. Doesn't provide everything that you need in one view, or it only gives you snippets and pieces and you have to kind of pull things together in various web pages. If it provided everything you needed in a single view, very point, click, easy steps, then it would make it valuable to you, right? Data is what brings the value to those systems. Yes, it helps businesses make money, but it also helps guide future strategy, helps people out depending on those your business purposes and solutions, right? And it can help solve business and world problems. We use data to combat all types of issues in our world and our business today. Data is not kind of a boring topic, but it's actually really interesting and very powerful. So diving right on from that into our Nodes 2024 event. This is one of my favorite events of the year. It is entirely free, all virtual, and very technical, which is all of the things that I love. It started a few years back in 2019, so before the pandemic and kind of virtual events took off. So we've had a few years running with this now. We've morphed and adapted over the years, but it's all graph-related content. So if you're looking at connected data, how to use graph databases or graph technologies, graph tools, and so on, this is the hub for all of that. There's topics on Java or other programming languages and building applications and using those tools. Then there's AI and data science topics. There's data visualization, talking about different use cases for how businesses use graphs in day-to-day solutions, looking at specific solutions and how to architect them and build them and put together systems, as well as security. So looking at not just data inside of security, but looking at building applications or solutions to combat security problems. I'll also have a presentation there. I have a joint presentation. And so if you're able to attend the event and pop in, feel free to try to find me and ping me. I'll be happy to converse with you. As with most virtual events, there's lots of opportunities for interaction and learning and kind of seeing the latest and greatest. There's lots of really cool stuff there, from real live use cases of how businesses and people are using this in their day-to-day lives or just in business solutions, but also what is the bleeding edge and what are people exploring and doing with the latest in technology. Also, if you are a registrant, if you're registered for the event, everything is recorded, and so you'll get first notifications on when those recordings are up. So even if you aren't able to attend the event live or aren't able to catch all the sessions that you want to, everything will be available afterward as well. In the next episode, I plan to provide an update on some learnings that I've had with the Neo4j LLM Graph Builder tool. I mentioned this tool in a previous episode on this podcast, but I didn't really have time to go in depth on it, and I hadn't really had a chance to play with it more in depth. But it's a UI tool for reducing the manual steps to import unstructured data into Neo4j. So as a starter to many generative AI projects, you probably want to import unstructured data, documents, videos, images, etc., into your graph, and that usually is a pretty labor-intensive process. This tool aims to reduce a lot of that and help get you started very quickly and easily. There have actually been a lot of updates to this tool made since I mentioned it last a few episodes ago. It supports now a few different models as well as new document or unstructured data types, and there's lots of customizations. You can include specific labels or relationship types or import schema that the LLM should follow when it imports that data in. And it also has a way to explore the graph visually while it's loading and after it's done loading, and also interact with the chatbot all from that page. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for putting unstructured data into a graph database. But I've had a chance to play a little bit more with that, and I'm finding some really nice, fun features as well as hitting some walls, which I hope to have solved by the next time we meet here. For today, I seem to find the less glorified topics intriguing, like music theory and data. But while they're often overlooked, we shouldn't forget how powerful and useful those hidden gems can be. Then I'm getting hyped for next week's virtual event, Nodes 2024. Whether you're just curious or looking to expand your expertise, I hope to see you, virtually of course, there. Thanks for listening and happy coding.